Well, look, I mean, we've seen the potential for the last 10 years to make Salford a Football League club. I think it was no mean feat, and we got to a point of where Peter Lim left 12 months ago to say, he invested so heavily with us and been a brilliant partner for 10 years, and we needed to bring a new sort of ownership structure forward. I think excitement I've got about the future, because I've loved watching Salford City every single week, whether it's on the link that I get as an owner or whether it's actually live. But also relief, because it got to a point, I think, in December, January, we're thinking, how we're going to bring forward the right ownership group that's going to mean that we can sort of look at this club properly in the next 4 or 5 years and have some level of influence over it, whilst when you know you're going to be a minority, which is where we were at with it, we needed to make sure that we came into business with a group of people that we trusted at Salford City, and that was the most vital thing, that we trust the people who are in with us, and we've got a great group of people. I don't look at it like that in terms of being limited because of United and City. We know that there's great football clubs in the area beyond United and City as well. But the potential, I don't want to get too carried away, because I know how bloody hard League Two is. I said yesterday at one point we've stabilised in League Two, and I think that's probably being a little bit economical with the truth. We found it difficult with the sort of budgets that we've had in the last 5 years. We've got to ask about how we do things differently next season to ensure that the money that we're spending on the first team and other parts of the club are spent in the best way, and we want this club to be sustainable in a 4 or 5 year period, which means we have to grow revenues while still being accessible to fans. That's the most important thing. But I'm not going to sit here and say sort of like that we're going to be in the Champions League in the next 10 years, or we're going to be in the Premier League. We have to make sure that we pay all our attention to League Two and the brilliant league that is. I've loved watching the 200 games that I've watched in this league. It's an excitement every single week to me. I love it just as much as watching the Premier League games that I do on a Sunday for Sky. But I want to get out of this league, as every other club in this league does, and it's hard work. And so I don't want to talk too much about ambition at this point. There is an ambition, there is a real determined group of people who've come in, but we have to keep our feet on the ground. It's important, but David's been a shareholder in the club for 5 or 6 years, maybe in a sort of different type of role than he will be moving forward. He will be passive moving forward from an operational perspective, but he will, to be fair, be more involved than maybe he has been. He's committed to Salford. He asks regularly about the club in terms of sort of the direction of it, and it is important to have him on board. But I think as a group of shareholders that we've got coming in, there's like 9 of us, that it's important that we use all the expertise of all that group to make the club more successful, and that's what excites me. Meeting some of the people that we've brought in over the last few months. I know there's a real passion for football. They know me and David in some way or form, and they've got different sort of levels of contribution that they can bring, and can contribute in different areas with their skill sets, and that's something that's really exciting for Salford. I've not spoken to him about a US tour or playing against Inter Miami. Really haven't. That's something that really hasn't been a priority in the last few months. We've been prioritising making sure that Salford City have the next 4 or 5 years looked after, and that we make sure that the Salford City is on a firm footing in that period. Well, commercially they'll have roles with the club, but Scholes helps currently with recruitment. Ryan's helping on the football side. Ryan's also on the foundation board, and those roles will continue. So from that side of things, nothing changes there. We came into this together 10 years ago, and whilst obviously some of the lads are not shareholders anymore, they'll still continue to contribute to the club in ways in which they have done.